Hello, this is Matt again, and we're going to pick up where we left off in the last video. In the last video, we created our account and we created a game. In this video, we are going to log into our account and then start to look at what you can do with the little tools and access for the game. So, when you first come back, if you have logged out of your account or you're like me and you're in an incognito mode, which I'm in because my real account has a lot of preloaded information in it and it's pro, and I wanted to walk through this step by step on the free version. Then you want to go ahead and log into your account. You do so by putting in your email address that you created the account with. Roll20 does not have a need to verify your email, so you won't have gotten an email or anything. This should work. You could ignore all emails from Roll20 and it would still work, although I don't recommend ignoring all emails. And so you go to log in by clicking sign in. If you only have one game, you will likely be taken to this game page. If you have more than one game or you had done some other surfing, then this is the page that you would probably be taken to. You can see your game here, and really all there is to it is clicking the game and you'll get to the page I was just at. So here we are, ready to make a game. Now, in this, ready to play a game. We already made our game. So we have our game right here. And I'm going to go over what some of this stuff is on this page. If you are just making your game for 2 or 3 weeks before you get back to your in real life game, a lot of this stuff is not necessary. But if you are making a game that is more long term, you might choose to utilize some of these tools. So the first thing is up at the top. You can drop a file here to create a background for your game. I'm going to grab a random image that I have on my PC to just explain or show how to do that background. But you can put, in my games, I have some people who like to draw. And so I put things like, I do a lot of ahs and ums in these videos. I put things like the party. They might have drawn the party, or the map of the world that I'm in, or a image that I might create in a Photoshop. And those things go there. For this, though, I am just going to drop a picture of an Ifrit from a game that I just ran where the party TPK'd fighting these things. So sad. Sorry to see them all go. But to drag and drop it, all I did was navigated to the folder that I have it on. So I have it on the folder that I have it in. And then I grab it like this, and I just drag it over, and it uploads. You can put another image there and it will overwrite the current image, and that is the background image. Everyone will see this image as they come into your game. A couple other things that you can note on this page. One is the content. This is your chat archive. If you ever want to go and look at the entire chat archive, you can do it from here. So can your players, so be aware. If you are fudging rolls or lying about rolls or doing things, I do believe players can see those if they go and look at the chat archive. I don't know for certain, but it's something to be aware of. I probably should check that before I tell you that. But hey, think about that if you decide to fudge your rolls. Here's your game settings. You can copy this game if you're like about to try something, you're worried about ruining the game, so you can just make a copy of it. You can clear your chat archive and you can delete the game. Inside the game settings is where you set a whole bunch of information. You can read this over as on your own. You note there's some things that you can't do unless you're plus or pro level. However, the 1 or 2 things that I want to point out is the compendium. If you purchase things on the Roll20 marketplace and you are pro, then you can share, or if you're not pro, you can share with five other players. If you are pro, you can share up to 16 players. You can share your player's handbook, your the Tome of Foes book, and a couple other books that are available on Roll20. If you can select how they access it and what edition you want them to be available to. You can change your template here. I don't recommend changing your template once you made it. You can also set a couple interesting things, such as always roll with advantage, which I do to save time. A whisper toggle to allow the characters and players to whisper to you, and auto roll damage and crits. These are the base settings, so these things will be on every sheet once you apply this. You can turn them off on certain sheets if you don't want them. If you check this button, every new sheet you make will default to an NPC sheet, which looks slightly different. I'll go over that in a later video, but I don't recommend turning that one on. There's also a whole bunch of other things that you can set up and change, including an honor score or a sanity score if you choose to use those things. And when you are done making any changes that you have, you click Save Changes. Right before I do that, though, I do want to point out the vault access. If you just read what this says. This allows people to import characters from other games. If you turn this on, then they can pull in games from like their AL game, or they can make their own game and create a character while you're figuring out D&D. However, it is mostly a useful tool if you have a pro account versus just your own account. So save your changes if you have made any, and in order to get back to your game, you just click the title of your game, Amazing Game of Amazement. Other things to note, you could set this to a 5e. All that does is help the tags and searching if you are going to be putting this game out in the wild. This is a timer or a calendar rather, that you can set your next game. So we're going to say our next game is Saturday at 6 p.m. Note that I had to set both the date, the hour, and the minute. A lot of times when I've set this up, I've clicked off before I set the minute, and then I'm confused by the minute. This is not saved. If you do not click save, if you navigate away from this page, this time will not be saved. And so you have to click save. We wait for it to, and then here you go, Saturday, March 21st, 6 a.m. Pacific time. Note, I got the time wrong. I said 6 p.m., but I didn't click the right PM AM, so it is in the wrong area. If you do that, you simply click it again, go down, and you have to do the whole thing all over again because we want 6 p.m. And then you have to click save again. Now, this will show up in the time zone of your players, so you don't have to worry about them making the calculations. If you put this in and they look and go, how long until game? They can look here and it will show an accurate amount of time based upon the time zone that they have set for their local time zone. Description. This is pretty straightforward. You simply click here and then type in. There you go. Pretty straightforward. When you say, you can use Markdown in there, and then this is for game add-ons. I've never used this before, but if you are somebody who is capable of making add-ons that Roll20 are Roll20 appropriate, such as maps or adventures, and you make them yourself, you want to move them into your game, I believe this is how you do that. The Topix is where you put information for your players to see. The players can then reply to them. It's pretty easy. You just post a new topic. And post the topic. Now the players will be able to reply to this. I could also post replies to it. You could sync it, stick it, delete it, edit it, quote it, any of those things. Very useful tool for if you're looking for new players and you wanted to put the game out on Roll20, or you wanted to put the game out on R looking for group, and you just link to the game and you say, you could post the topic. I've seen this done before where the topic is post your character that you want to play, or post why I should invite you into my game, or something like that. Another way that I've seen this used is for keeping a journal of what was previously done. The topic would be, last time, and in our sessions, and one of the players is responsible for updating what the session is and going on. You don't have to use them; it's just there. I don't personally use them because I have Discord, and so Discord, I just create rooms for stuff like that. Up here is you, and then this is how you invite players. This is the part you really need to look at. So if you want to invite a player, you can send him an email address. If you were to send an email address to one of your players, you could see the pending invitation. So I will send it to my junk email account that I never check. And see, look, I have a pending invitation to my junk email account. If I wanted to get rid of this junk email, like I did create this a while back, also with the same name, I could block it. I could go see what kind of player he is and things like that. But with those pending invitations, if you wanted to get rid of the invitation, you just break out of this screen and then come back, and then you can cancel the invitation if you decide you don't want that player. Also, you could simply send them a link. If you send a link, you do not get the opportunity to cancel the invitations, if I recall. But if a player does come in that you don't want, I will show you later on how to kick a player if you need to. That's pretty much it on this screen. There's a couple other things you can look into, a quick Google search, but if you're just doing the basics, you're good. And so we will launch the game, and you will be greeted with this screen as it sets up your new game. And this screen only really happens the first time that you join. And after that, this screen, you'll never see that countdown screen again. It's building a new game for you. All right, in our next video, we will go over what is available here. The toolbar on the left-hand side, the options up here in the upper right-hand corner. Hopefully this was helpful, and yeah, I don't really have a sign-off. I'm just doing this to help people. So hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.